This podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association and the Florida Department of Agriculture.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Horse Podcast, filmed at Horse Capital TV Studios right here in Ocala, Florida. I'm your host, Brock Sheridan, and today our guest is Christine Jones, the Director of Stallion Services at Pleasant Acres Farm, certainly a premier stallion station here in Florida. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you very much, Brock. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. A little bit about Pleasant Acres Stallions. They're owned and operated by Joe and Helen Barbizon, and it's a 400-acre full-service commercial breeding facility in Morriston, Florida, that currently stands 13 stallions here in Florida. Got a great roster this year for 2023. I imagine you're very busy because we're right in the middle of breeding season right now.
Yes, sir. Extremely busy. I'm glad I could cut out a little time to come and visit with you.
So let's start out talking about the newest stallion on the Pleasant Acres roster. That's Mutasa Beck. And Mutasa Beck is standing this year for $6,500. What can you tell us about this new superstar?
Well, you said it all. He's a superstar for sure. We are more than thrilled to have a grade 2 winning son of Into Mischief added to our roster this year. He's only been there for about 2.5 weeks at this point, and it was a decision by the owner of Mutasa Beck to come to Florida. The horse is absolutely gorgeous looking. He is definitely Into Mischief all the way. Very strong shoulder, great quarters, beautiful head. He walks through it just like a champ. So to be able to have a grade 2 winner, grade 3 placed stakes horse with his credibility of being in the money 4 times out of 6 is pretty darn good.
That is certainly exciting. Now, we were talking about Mutasa Beck as being a big star. Another big star at Pleasant Acres Stallions is, of course, Gunnavera. He earned more than $5 million, so there's never been a stallion in Florida that's ever earned that much. There's not many stallions anywhere that have earned that much. So he's been here for a couple of years now. Tell us how the breeders are responding to Gunnavera.
Well, Gunnavera has absolutely brought everything to the table. We are very proud of him. He started off his first season with 105 mares bred. The second season is 78, and the progeny have just now started going to the sale. Last October at Saratoga, his first weanling sold for $50,000, which was pretty nice. That was off to a great start. Then right after that, in January, right here at OBS, he had another colt sell for $100,000. So that really says a lot. The breeders are loving him. The mares are getting booked to him solidly again this year. So I expect that we're going to have a terrific year for him. All of his foals appear to be very tall and leggy and are bringing him to the table for sure.
Yeah, the buyers at the sales are loving his foals, that's for sure. I mean,
Yes.
That's one thing about Gunnavera, other than the fun, what a great racehorse he was.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, has he proven to be a good investment for breeders here in Florida as well. I mean,
Oh, yes.
people love his foals. Let's talk about somebody else that's very popular, a horse that you have out there, Lindster. Now, he bred more than 100 mares last year.
Yes, he
So
did.
it goes without saying that his popularity is pretty high here in Florida.
Yes, it is, and rightfully so. He is the record holder right now in the Shakertown and the Troy, which is really a nice thing. He has 4 triple-digit buyers. He is a multiple graded stakes winner, and he's also the half-brother to Stormy Liberal. So it doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
Has he had any babies hit the ground yet?
Yes, he has. There's about a half a dozen out there already, and they are definitely looking the part. They all seem to have that really nice shoulder that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to this whole brand new season for him, and his mares are lining up at the door, so we're happy.
Of course, one of the other popular sires that you have out there, he's a champion, Neolithic. He was the FTBOA champion freshman sire of 2021. He's by Harlan's Holiday, a very popular sire. Boy, he's had some good runners so far, hasn't he?
Absolutely, he has. And they have been Make It Big and Caton have really, put their stuff on the table. And he's showing up continually at the sale by selling, his horses for more than 100,000, which, is always a nice kind of bankroll in everyone's pocket. I'm happy to tell you that last year, going into his fifth season, he bred almost 90 mares, which is really great. It makes me feel really good about the confidence that our breeders have in him.
Of course, one of the bloodlines that everybody looks for, no matter where you are, is Tappet. And that brings us to our next stallion to talk about, and that's Magic on Tap. Magic on Tap is by Tappet. Boy, he's got some really, really impressive bloodlines. He's out of that Street Sense mare. It's Abby K, who was fantastic in her own right. Tell us a little bit about Magic on Tap and how the breeders are responding to him.
Well, it's been very consistent. Every time I take Magic out and bring him out to show the people, our breeders, our friends, the first thing that usually comes out is, wow. He is a big, strong, good-looking horse. He is probably 16'3", and he has this strong quarter and a beautiful shoulder, not to mention a nice neck set, head, and a beautiful eye, of course. And his dam side, of course, is beautiful out of the mare Abby K. And just so everybody knows, he is on the same cross as Constitution, who stands for 115,000, and Essential Quality, who stands for 75,000. So we are more than thrilled to have this horse here with us. And another nice bonus is that Ms. Lyons is actually sending mares to the Stallion this year as well. So her support is just wonderful.
Boy, that's something that people always look for when they're trying to pick out a stallion, is they look for when the owner of the stallion supports that stallion with their own mares.
Yeah.
And you're saying that Magic on Tap is getting plenty of support from his ownership team as well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, which makes my job a whole lot better.
That does. It makes it a whole lot better. Makes my job a whole lot better because you're probably going to be more babies to write about too.
That's right.
So good. Kerlins Honor, more good bloodlines to talk about. Kerlins Honor is a stallion that's been out there. He is, of course, owned by Mike Hall, who's on our board of directors. And he is by two-time Horse of the Year Kerlin. He sold for $1.5 million when he was a youngster. And tell us a little bit about Kerlins Honor and what the breeders should be looking for when they take a mare to him.
Kerlins Honor is a magnificent looking stallion. He brings a lot to the table. He can run short, long, on any surface. He can get the job done. And when you look at him physically, it's absolutely no wonder he was a record-breaking $1.5 million horse. For sure. He is stunning. His progeny are turning out to look a lot like him. Very nice, very strong shoulders, good hips, good bone for sure. And they all seem to be very precocious looking, which I know that's one of the biggest things that our breeders are looking for.
When you talk about an underrated stallion, we have the FTBUA gives out an award for the leading sire, for the freshman sire, the juvenile sire. If we gave out an award for an underrated sire, it'd have to be Gone Astray. And Gone Astray has always been one of my favorites just because he's been so prolific in the producing Florida Sire Stakes winners. I think a statistic that a lot of people probably don't know about him is that he's the third leading sire among Florida Sire Stakes, producing Florida Sire Stakes winners. I mean, he's just a horse that people really, despite his age, people really need to take a second look at him, don't they?
Oh, yes, I totally agree with you. He is a veteran in our roster, and we are very happy to have him there. As you mentioned, he is on the consistently on the top 10 list, consistently all the time. He has approximately 282 runners, and out of those runners, there are 196 winners. Two of which are champions, and there's about 14 black type horses in all, and we all are familiar with Shifty She and Three Rules, so he just keeps making better and better horses, and he is definitely one of our longtime veterans for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about Shifty She's a perfect example of Florida Stallion that can have a lot of success in the Florida Sire Stakes, but also produces winners on the turf in New York. And Shifty She, who went up to New York and was very successful on the turf up there. Let's talk a little bit about Ameris Prince. The Galileo line is a very interesting line because it's mostly European. People may not think that would be something that Florida breeders would really find attractive, but you've had success with other stallions out there at Pleasant Acres. Treasure Beach, I believe, was by Galileo too. So that brings us to Ameris Prince, who is by a sire by the name of Teofilo, who's over in Europe. So tell us about Ameris Prince and some of the things that are some of his best qualities.
Well, he's probably one of the most conformationally correct and physically beautiful horses that I have. And with that being said, he's already accumulated $1.2 million in his progeny earnings. And that comes from a very small group, 14 out of 25. So he's really managed to, do his job.
Yeah, another horse that's fairly new out there. I think he came maybe even last year is No Never No More. He's a 3/4 brother to French 2-year-old champion No Nay Never, who currently stands in Ireland at Coolmore for $125,000, just looking at my notes. So there's an opportunity for Florida breeders, isn't it?
Absolutely. No Never No More came to us for the 22 season, and his owner is from Nevada, and he loves to give this horse as much opportunity as he can. The horse is from the impeccable line of No Nay Never, and I think that I heard, I could be mistaken, that they just raised his fee to $175,000. So with that all being said, this guy at $2,500 is certainly a bargain and brings a lot of that wonderful bloodline to the table.
Oh, absolutely. You can really strike it rich with a horse like that. Pay $2,500. So let's talk about another stallion out there at Pleasant Acres, and that's Jaff Mill. He's another with great bloodlines, distorted humor out of a Stormcat mare. Tell us a little bit about Jaff Mill, because he has an owner that supports him very well too.
Indeed, he does. And this horse came from a private breeding farm in Iowa. This gentleman purchased this horse and decided to encourage his own private mare band. And with that being said, he has, to his credit, 21 winners out of 27 runners, which comes to be about 80% on the board.
Wow.
Which is pretty incredible when you think that, this gentleman has done that in Iowa with just his own private mares. So he was kind enough to want to come to Florida and share this good guy with us. So we're very happy to have him.
Okay, let's talk about a stallion that I kind of like out there a little bit, and that's Sweet on the Ladies. And one of the reasons that I like him is that I'm obviously a big fan of Florida breds, and he defeated two of my favorite Florida breds, an Imperial Hint and XY Jet, when he was on the track. He's a horse that, I mean, if you're looking for speed, I would think you'd be looking for Sweet on the Ladies.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. He is a multiple graded stakes winner, and we're happy to see that his foals are big and strong. And if you look at him and look at the foals, he's doing a terrific job, because the foals are markedly bigger than him and are strong, good bone, and very sensible.
Another stallion he's new to Pleasant Acres. He's not new to Florida, but long on value. He was a millionaire. He's a winner of 8 stakes. He was very versatile. Talk about somebody that could travel a lot. He won in the United States. He won in Dubai. He won in Canada. I mean, he went all over the place. England, I think he actually won a race in England. He won a Grade 1 at Woodbine, and he provides some value for Florida breeders as well, doesn't he? Because he stands for 2,500.
Yes, his fee is 2,500, and indeed, he is all of those things that you just said, and he brings a lot to the table. He's a millionaire. He has 7 triple-digit buyers. He is a world-renowned horse who has raced in, as you mentioned, 4 different countries. So we are looking forward to this year, his 3-year-olds, because they are big, strong horses. I think perhaps the 2-year-old year was not where he maybe fits in, but his 3-year-olds look like they're going to definitely be something to look for.
Well, a horse that's producing things that people have already seen, you don't have to look for, and that's Bucaro. Now, we've already done a podcast on Bucaro, so I encourage you to go back and watch that podcast. But that was, a couple of months ago when we did that podcast. So what updates do you have for us on Bucaro?
Well, Bucaro continues to be one of the driving forces in the barn, for sure, just like his owner. Anyway, he is a breeder favorite, for sure. I could have the paparazzi out there all day. Anyway, with all kidding aside, he has managed to breed 416 mares in his first 4 seasons, which is just phenomenal. I'm very proud of that, for sure. And I look forward to, I think there's approximately 89 that'll be performing in 2023. So hopefully we're knocking on the door for a stakes horse, for sure. I think Todd Caro's going to jump up there and he'll be the first one.
Yeah, he doesn't have a stakes winner yet, but he's about as close to getting stakes winners as a horse can get without having a stakes winner. I think he had a horse that crossed the finish line in a stakes here at Gulfstream Park and got disqualified. If you want to know about that, you can go back and listen to the podcast because Harlan has plenty to say about that as well. Well, Christine, I want to thank you very much for taking the time, especially during breeding season. I know you're very busy. How many phone calls do you take a day out there? Talk a little bit about your position as a stallion director. So you're booking all the mares that are coming to these stallions during this breeding season. How many calls do you think you take a day?
Oh, probably upward of 100.
Oh, my goodness.
Uh-huh. Yes, but you know what? It's great. I love what I do. And Joe and Helen are great people. They are the salt of the earth. So they make it so that I can perform my job and do it at my best. And I would just have to tell you that I feel very strongly about our Florida industry and the people and the breeders that come to the farm. They are extremely important to me. The stallion owners and the breeders are the lifeline of our business, and without them, we have nothing. So I would just personally like to say thank you to each and every one. I try to do that on a regular basis, but maybe this will reach a few more. Anyway, thank you from Pleasant Acre Stallions, and we hope to see everybody this year.
Well, if you have a mare and you're considering any of the stallions, we hope you consider Pleasant Acre Stallions. They're in Morriston, Florida. Christine always help you with your mare, or any kind of matching software that you might be interested in. They can always help you out with that. I'm sure anytime you want to come out and look at the stallions,
absolutely,
always an opportunity for that too. That's going to do it for today. I want to thank you once again, Christine, for stopping by, especially during this busy time of year for our podcast today. If you want to learn more about the thoroughbred industry here in Florida, you can always check out Wire to Wire at wiretowire.net. I'm Brock Sheridan. So long, everyone.
This podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association and the Florida Department of Agriculture.